wants to know who John Locke is. From a historical aspect, we're still on that subject here because Rousseau and Locke are historical. The difference between the traditional approach and the lifespan approach. Which approach focuses on what? Now, as it relates to age, remember how we talked about your psychological age, your biological age, your social age, your chronological age? Make sure you know the definitions of each of those. Let you catch up for just a minute. You should have this information already started in your notes, just for organization purposes here. I would also like to encourage you to form study groups that really learn how to do that much more successful. All right, we talked about the brain. There were 3 specific areas of the brain that we discussed. Make sure you know each of those 3 areas and what their functions are. This is going to be a multiple choice test. You're just going to be recognizing information. You're not going to have to be spewing information out. I would want to know about Sigmund Freud, specifically about his psychosexual theory. I would also want to know about Erik Erikson, his psychosocial theory. I would also want to know about Sigmund Freud's personality theory. I would also want to make sure I could associate Jean Piaget with the cognitive theory. You don't have to know the stages, but just make sure you know associate Piaget with cognitive. I would also want to know who Albert Bandura was. And there was one of his experiments that we talked about. Also, I wanted about research ethics. There were 4 things that I told you wanted to consider if performing a psychological research study. I would also want to know about Down syndrome. And I'll give you one to catch up to. One thing you probably know is Down, some either relate. The testing center should have fixed this, but when I emailed them the copy of the test, some of the answers, every question is going to have 4 possible choices. On the first 2 or 3 pages, this should be fixed, shouldn't be an issue. D is going to show up on the next page. You're going to see a question A, B, C, and then D is on the next page there. Make sure you look. If you only see A, B, C, every single question is going to have 4 possible choices. All right. So I want to know some statistics behind infertility. And also about adoption and its connection with educational and social problems. I would also take a very close look at the teratogens section that we discussed with them. A pretty decent amount of time on that. Talked about thalidomide, coffee, all that good stuff. Now, we discussed low birth weight children. So there's a magic number. Make sure you know what that magic number is. I would also want to know about postpartum depression and how many women get it. Again, I'm talking about full-blown postpartum, not just the baby blues. Full-blown postpartum depression. All right, neuropsychology. Want to make sure we know what percentage of neurological interconnections are formed in the first 2 years of life, and also how these neurological interconnections are formed. We talked about infant fluid. We talked about shared sleeping. We talked about fibs. And breastfeeding. We talked about the visual cliff experiment. We talked about a study that discusses hearing in the womb during the last trimester. I would also want to make sure I know the difference between assimilation and accommodation. We talked about symbolic thinking and object permanence. We also talked about infantile amnesia. And we're around in the corner here. We talked about the possible validity of infantile intelligence tests. We talked about temperament. We talked about attachment. And we talked about child care. And the rest of the information we've gone over today, so I'm going to quickly go over that. We talked about brain development during the ages of 3 to 6. Talked about gross versus fine motor skills. Talked about symbolic thinking. We talked about how long it takes to get information from our short-term to our long-term memory. We also talked today about conservation. And Reminder, Eric Erickson, make sure you know his first 4 stages. Especially able to differentiate those between one another. Yeah, we also talked about imminent justice. The 4 parenting styles. And last but not least, the definition of gender. If I know all this information, I will get 100% on the test, and